An upsetting new poll showing that pride in our country has been declining for years. Just look at your screen right there. 92% of you were proud to be Americans in 2002. And look, only 53% of us this year are proud to be American. That's just over half. That's ridiculous. But with the nation's 250th anniversary upon us, could this milestone and the celebrations that come with help restore that sense of national pride? Look who we have here to weigh in. Former Navy SEAL and New York Times bestselling author, Jack Carr. Jack, it's awesome that you got up with us. Thank you so much for doing this. As someone who is willing to literally die for our country during your service as a Navy SEAL, how frustrating and disappointing is it to see those numbers?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into that poll, okay? But I think that there's something that's shifted over the last, well, it's been decades, but we all won the lottery just by being born in this country. And you used to have to invest something in this experiment called America. I just got back from Normandy. My kids came over with me with the Best Defense Foundation. We took 28 World War II veterans back to Normandy for 10 days of events surrounding the commemoration of D-Day. And these guys came home from World War II and built this country into what it is today. And I'm gonna take that off. And they invested in this country. They sacrificed and then they built. They didn't come home and whine and take. They built this country into what it is today. So being able to show that to my kids, have them talk to those World War II veterans, it's an appreciation, I think, that comes from understanding that from the inception of this country up until today, people invested, people sacrificed, and then it's our responsibility, this generation, to pass those same freedoms on to our children and grandchildren. That's a responsibility that we take in our family very seriously, but that's where it starts, with that family and with that appreciation of what was sacrificed in the past.
I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashim Rakak, Radash, and double honor to the apostles of the great millstone that have taught me this truth, and to include the elder bishops on down, and Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, Barakatham, to the elect. So as this article declares, Americans' pride in U.S. history and democracy drops. Fewer are proud to be an American, polls find out. And in this article, it reads that 59% of the population, 53% of the population are still extremely proud to be an American. So that leaves, 47% of the population that are not proud of America. And that's a lot of people. That's like almost half of the population right there. You know, we're probably talking about maybe 160 or 70 million Americans that, yeah, it could be about that, about between 150, 260 million people that find America to be problematic and that they're not proud of it, right? So, you know, the simple way I can really go about things here is by reading a precept. And it's Isaiah 14 and 11. Thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vows, the worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. Exactly. So the pomp, what does the word pomp mean? The word pomp is in relation to the word pride. So you have 47% of Americans. And this is a lot to read, man. I tell you the truth. That's why I don't want to read it, because it's just too much, right? But yeah, you know, you have 43% of people that don't really agree with, you know, where America's at right now. And then you have even people that have their own independent thought. They even don't agree with what America's become either. You know what I'm saying? So between the two camps, you have the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. Right in the middle, you still have, you know, the 59 over here that are proud of what their country still is about. And so then that would then mean, yeah, you have your Democrats. So the Democrats are not proud of where the country's at, right? But still, that's a lot of people. Like, we're talking about 260 million people overall, you know. So yeah, you know, this is just where we at in the world right now, and again, it just ties into what I just read to you in the book of Isaiah 14, because it was way more than that years ago. Due to policies, due to what's being had geopolitically and the corruption that the government has been up to for all these years, it's just through a process of time has led America to not be looked up to anymore. You know what I'm saying? So let me read this as well, man. Americans' pride in the way of democracy works in the U.S. has declined 14% points, falling from 42% in February 2017. And so it's doubled now, 28% now. In addition, Americans' pride in armed forces has dropped 19% points since 2017, and the pride in the U.S. history has declined 14 percentage points. In each case, the drops is largely driven by Democrats, with some movement among independents as well. Yeah, so largely to do with the Democrats. They don't really like where the country's at, and I mean it's probably to do with the fact that they're growing more and more in hatred for Trump. You know what I'm saying? And it could be a little bit worse than what they're saying it is, because you don't really see people going crazy and showing their support for America like they used to be. Like, you would see people in a very patriotic manner just letting it be known that, look, I'm proud to be an American, and you see these individuals, man, like, whether they're protesting, they'll have their their flags out and just letting you know they're proud. And I mean, you don't really get that kind of spirit no more like you used to. You don't really get that no more. That's like you can say is dead in the water. But yeah, again, 42% of the population are not proud of America because of the deeds that has been done. And again, as Isaiah 14:11 puts it, thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vows, worms is spread under thee, and the worms have covered thee, meaning the corruption. Because America has always been a corrupted nation anyway, but now more and more, as time progresses, people are taken to the social media streets on X, and they're speaking about the corruption of their government and how unproud they are of their government as well, to include. Okay, you even have these Republican heads that are speaking up against America as well. Like, for case in point, I believe Redacted, they're like Republicans. I would go as far as to guess that they would probably be Republicans. People like Alex Jones, I believe he could be considered a Republican. And all of these, major talking hosts as well. Another guy, he came up to GMS years ago. What's his name, man? He used to work for Fox News. Tucker Carlson, I think he's a Republican as well. Right? So, yeah, all of these people, they have their platforms and they agree with these people, which would be Republican minded as well. All right? So, I think it's a lot worse than what they're saying it is, in my personal opinion. Because, again, you don't see the prideness that Americans used to have anymore. So, yeah, let's read this as well. This is what I find quite interesting. As nation turns 250 years old, many Americans sing the stars and stripes are now a red flag. Oh, boy. To fly or not to fly an American flag, that was never a question for Bruce Watson, who has put his national pride on display for years and nudges neighbors in his small New England town to do the same. I'm very proud of our flag, he writes, or the writer said. It's the symbol of we, the people. But as the polarized nation marks its 250th birthday, Watson 72 worries his stars and stripes may now need an asterisk. If we do fly the flag, we will also put out signs to make it clear that we are not MAGA, he said. The American flag is a symbol striped with many meanings, whether it's hung on the front porches, waves and parades, protests and World Cup matches, or stamped on lapels, pins, and boxing trunks. Like so much else in American life, it has also been tangled up in politics and the policies of President DJ Trump. And here's another point too that I want to read. I want to jump all the way down right here. And this is where I want to read and showing you brothers and sisters that are viewing this video. So as this reads, rather than not fly the flag, several readers said they plan to show their patriotism and protest Trump by flying it upside down to signal that the country is in distress. Now I could stop here, but there's some more in this as well. And this is what I want to read to y'all. Donald Trump has turned everything upside down, so it makes sense our flag should be upside down, said Diana Bannock, 61, who lives outside Des Moines, Iowa. It's a shame. We used to be a proud nation. Now our country is in distress. And you see, the algorithm of the Lord never fails, does it? So what we want to do is we want to read verse 2, right? Proverbs 11 and verse 2, which is the point. When pride cometh, then cometh shame. But with the lowly is wisdom. And that's why she made that statement. Because, yeah, America was a place that you could be proud of, right? Especially for these white Americans, especially, you know. But now, because of what's going on geopolitically and the things that are being, laws that are being passed, and these things, now America is looking like a jackass. And it's also become the laughing stock of the world to include. You got this individual in office that's like a bumbling idiot, mentally incoherent. He's talking about how he's going to tariff this country and that country and this country and many other things, and then to include the war with Iran. Again, just things that he's been doing geopolitically is now made America look like the laughing stock of the world. And you see what I'm saying? So that's the thing about pride. Pride is what always brings the falling of men, especially when you're priding yourself in wickedness. Now, let's read another scripture. This is from the NLT. And what I could do, I could parallel this. Let me do this. KJV. And we're going to parallel it to the, let me see some real quick. The NIV. Let's NIV this real quick. Right? So now, let's read Isaiah 23. And let's read this over here. We're going to read from the KJV, verse 8. Who have taken this counsel against Tyre, the crowning city, whose merchants are princes, whose traffickers are the honorable of the earth. And the Lord of hosts, Yahweh, have purposed it to stain the pride of all glory and bring it into contempt, all of the honorable of the earth. Now let's read it from the NIV. The Lord Almighty planned it to bring it down, her pride in all her splendor, and to humble all who are renowned of the earth. He increaseth the nations and destroyeth them, and he enlargeth the nations and straightened them again. And so, what does it mean to be straightened again? Meaning to be put in a place of distress, right? That's why the woman said what she said, that we're now in distress. And the more distress of things are going to come upon these Edomites. All right, the ultimate distresses is going to come. And I'm talking about when martial law is declared, where everybody has to go get the mark, Jacob's trouble, and the nuclear destruction. That's going to be the ultimate distress. So they worrying about a bunch of nothing in comparison to what's getting ready to come in the future. All right. And it's all going to be the judgment of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai for the wrongs that they have done. And that's all I got to say on this one as well. Giving all of the praise and the glory to the Most High and the Son, Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai, Bahashim Rakak Wadash. With that, I'm going to close. Shalom.